Welcome back to Jacked Up Gardening and happy spring to everybody. Caitlin Sterner here, joined by Mason Day from the Blue Crew. And today we're going to chat about feeding those early spring crops and seedlings.
Yeah, sounds great, Caitlin. Now is the perfect time to discuss fertilizer options for the start of the spring gardening season. It's so important to get your plants off to a good start from the very beginning, and choosing the right fertilizer is key for healthy root and shoot development. Caitlin, what formulas do you recommend for starting young plants?
Yeah, so I've had my own theories on feeding rates for young seedlings, but I really wanted to confirm my thoughts. So I got some time this week to sit down with Jack Peters himself, and we were able to talk about, early spring, getting your seedlings and transplants on the right track. And he shed a lot of great light on the Jack's formulas that you can use when you're at home. So feeding the 20-20-20 all-purpose at an indoor rate of a quarter teaspoon per gallon is perfect for starting out those young plants. Once they have 1 to 2 sets of true leaves, and depending on how you start seeds, whenever you're ready to transplant or move them into a bigger container, Jack mentioned that it's really important to give them a shot of the 10-30-20 blossom booster, only because that higher amount of phosphorus in that formula is really going to help your plant root system, strengthen up and give it the support it needs for a transition and almost like a shock of moving them around. So feeding that blossom booster, again, at a quarter teaspoon per gallon for those really young plants is perfect in giving the roots, helping them stretch out, and aids, just gives them more support in moving.
Gotcha. So, this is one of those phases where you don't necessarily want stretch as far as the plant goes, but you want stretch in those roots and building a strong root system. Makes sense. And hey, talking to the man himself, Jack, he's on the label, so he knows his stuff. So really, it is important to give your seedlings a feeding of that 10-30-20. And even though it says blossom booster, anytime you transplant them into different containers or into the garden outside is important. It is really just an extra shot of help to help them, with that transition. Again, keeping roots and shoots healthy and strong.
Yep, and the quarter teaspoon feeding rate can be increased for both formulas as your plants get bigger. Once they have 3 to 4 sets of true leaves, you can increase that feeding rate when they're still indoors up to a teaspoon per gallon of water. And then when your plants are really well established and pretty much just at the point to go outside, once they are outside, you just get them back on to that full outdoor rate of 1 tablespoon per gallon. So it's really about transitioning them and weaning them into those higher feed rates.
Yeah, and once your plants are outside and receiving that direct sunlight is when you can switch to the feeding, the traditional formula. And for that most early spring cole crops, looking at vegetables that might be outside earlier, cabbage, broccoli, lettuce, those things. And they're going to thrive on that 1 tablespoon of all purpose, which is a 20-20-20 every 7 to 10 days.
Yeah, and just in general, just a tip not to forget, when you move your young plants outside, it's really important to take a few days to get them acclimated to the outdoors, or in the horticulture world, we call it hardening them off, and just getting them from the indoor cushy consistent environment of growing indoors to the outside elements, whether it's wind or just the direct sunlight, giving them some time. Usually we say putting them outside for 3 to 5 days in a more shaded area that's a little protected, just to get them to strengthen up and be a little more resilient to the outdoor environments.
Yeah, I'm a big vegetable grower myself, and I always have to practice that every spring. Sometimes I get a little risky and try to rush things, and usually, I pay the price for that. So, well, hey, we hope you enjoy getting your hands dirty this time of year, and don't forget, we are here to help you with any questions you have to make your 2021 garden a success. So we'll catch you next time, and be sure to leave us a comment or reach out to us at info@jrpeters.com with your thoughts and questions. See you next week.
See ya.